3 balls and 2 strikes to count. Talon from the stretch, kicks and delivers home. That one swung on. That will be deep enough to tie the ball game.
You're for sure going to get one right there.
Hamlin
you might
lost
get more.
it, and
it's
that's
over
over.
the head of the right fielder, and Spanish Forks going to come away with the victory.
Nick Roberts dives head first, and the Dons are heading back to the state championship game for the 2nd consecutive year.
It started clear back in the summer when I scheduled. I scheduled Cottonwood, who we've always done in the past. I've scheduled Bingham, who we've always done in the past. I switched up what tournaments we went to. Instead of going on the Sunshine Tournament, we went to a more competitive tournament called the Red Rock Classic at Dixie State. And so I knew, and then obviously going down to Southern Cal and playing the National Classic, I knew we had a real tough schedule. And I knew we might be in over our heads, but I felt that would prepare us for tough games in the state tournament. And I felt like that did. And our first game was against Judge. And shoot, man, I think we won 1-0. It was a pitcher's duel. And I remember McKenna Jarvis getting the big hit we needed with 2 outs. I think he hit a triple to the right center gap. We struggled offensively that game, and that was kind of not a continuation, but that kind of starting slow offensively, really, that was kind of our MO. And, you know, I didn't feel like we started having really good at-bats until about the end of March. So, you know, then after Judge, after Judge, we went to Payson, and we lost to Payson. That's the first time we've lost to Payson since sometime in the 90s, early 90s. And, you know, Payson threw a really good guy. He's going to college. He's going to Salt Lake Community College, named Jaden Hartle. And, you know, we scored 4 runs off him, but I think we lost 5-4. And we were just missing that 2-out base hit. And we made a couple of errors along the way, too, to help Payson out. And we lost the game. And that was really disappointing because, again, that's not expected at Spanish Fork is to lose to Payson. But I know Coach Kidd, he does a great job, and he left. And so, you know, they get to start a new tradition over there at Payson. And then after Payson, let's see, I think we went to St. George. That was our first experience playing the Red Rock Classic. And we played, let's see, Faith Lutheran from Vegas. We lost 6-5. And I know they took 2nd in their classification in Nevada the year prior, so I knew we were playing a good team. And again, we lost 6-5, played good, had some, again, offensively, we weren't quite there, and defensively, we made mistakes. And that kind of how we lost that game. And then that Friday night game, we played Pleasant Grove, who just absolutely hammered us. And we felt like we had a good position to beat those guys. We had Tanner Nilsson, who our #1 is, going to throw that game, and those guys just really had good at-bats and really battled against Tanner. Tanner wasn't quite himself, throwing lots of balls and walking guys. And we also, I think, had 6 errors that game, too, so that didn't help. And we ended up getting 10 run by Pleasant Grove. Then the Saturday, we played Arborview from Las Vegas. And I remember that game, we lost 12-11. And just some unforced errors, and those guys had some clutch hitting that kind of cost us the game. And then we played Arborview a second time that day, and they beat us like 9-1. And really, the first part of our preseason and even into the end of the year was, hey, we struggled defensively. We struggled defensively, and offensively we weren't quite the power hitting team. We kind of had to manufacture runs and do some small things. We couldn't rely on the long ball or hitting doubles. But defensively, we really struggled throughout the year. And, you know, I think that's why our record was what it was. It was 16-14. Then after we came back from Dixie, we started Region, and how Region started was perfect for us because we were actually, our kids were not very confident, they struggled. Spanish Fork has never, you know, started like that, and it's expected to win. So I think they put a lot of pressure on themselves to win. and we started with Timpview, and that was really good for us. And we got rolling a little bit against Timpview. We 10-run them both games, scored 20 runs the first game, and then I think scored another 15 or something the second game. So it was really nice to play Timpview to start out league. But then I think we played Cottonwood. So we played Timpview on a Tuesday and Thursday. Then we played Cottonwood Friday, which Cottonwood was number, I think, 2 or 3 at the time in 5A in the state. And you know what? We had a 3-0 lead on those guys in the 3rd inning, and they're throwing their best pitcher, Tavita Gerber, who threw 2 no-hitters this year, went 10-0, and had like a .89 ERA, and he's going to UNLV. And our guys really handled him very good the first 3 innings. Then after the 3rd inning, Gerber kind of settled in. I remember Riley Daniels pitched for us, and they kind of got to him. And then we just kind of imploded a little bit and made some errors and gave them some extra bases, gave them some extra outs, which led to, I think we ended up losing, 13-5 or something like that. But, we played very good for 4 innings, and that to me was a positive. And, I just tried to sell that to our players. Hey, that's a positive thing. We're in a game for 4 innings, and I just told them, hey, we just learn from our mistakes and keep growing. And I think that led to the next week we played Wasatch, and we beat Wasatch both games. I don't necessarily remember the particulars, but I know we beat Wasatch by, I think, 4 or 5 runs both games, and guys did a really good job. I remember our bats were starting to get better, and we're starting to take care of the ball a little bit better. Somewhere in between there, we lost to Bingham. Bingham 10-run us, I think 15-4. That was just another one of those games where we had a lead early, and then just gave a good team extra outs by hit batters, walks, errors, and they took advantage of it, and that's what good teams do. So we went down to Anaheim, and we actually competed very well. There's only one game we really got kind of blown out of the water. That was against El Dorado. We lost 9-1. But all the other games, we had leads going into the middle of the game, and just kind of found a way to give it up, again, through defensive mistakes. And so I was really happy with how we played down in California. When we came back from California, we played Salem Hills. And I remember it was a blustery day. It started fine, but by the end of the day, it was just absolute crappy. The wind was blowing. And we had Salem Hills on the ropes. We were up 5-2, I think, at the time, going into the 6th inning, and we had 2 outs in the top of the 6th. And then I think our pitcher walked a guy. Then all of a sudden, we made an error here. We made another error. They got some base hits. And then they ended up going up 7-5 in the top of the 6th with 2 outs. Then we threatened in the bottom of the 6th and also the bottom of the 7th, but just couldn't quite push any runs through, and we lost 9-5 against Salem. And that was real disappointing to us as coaches and also our players, because we felt that one got away from us. We felt like we kind of gave them the game through mistakes. And from what I've learned from earlier in the year, that we're a very basic team. At practice, all we worked on was playing catch, and all we worked on was fielding ground balls and hitting, honestly. And we didn't do any pickoff plays. We were a very simple team, and that just continued us into preparation for the next Salem Hills game. And we were lucky, and Salem Hills is ranked number 1 at this time in 4A. And we were lucky that, not lucky, but we prepared ourselves, and I think we ended up beating them 5-2 the next game, which was very important because that kept us in the region title race with Salem and also Maple Mountain. And I remember we beat a lefty named Riley Pierce, who's a very good arm. And, those are always important games against Salem Hills and Maple Mountain. To me, between us 3 teams, that's usually where the region championship is going to go through. And I remember I knew we had a real rough, not rough stretch, but just really good teams we were playing. We go from Southern Cal to Salem Hills to Maple Mountain, and we beat Maple Mountain the first game at our place. I think it was like a 9-2 or 7-2 ball game, and we did a lot of good things that game. Put a lot of pressure on them. Did a lot of manufacturing runs. And that was a big win, big confidence boosters for our guys. And especially being able to beat a quality team like Maple Mountain and to keep us in the race for a Region 8 championship. That was a real quality win. And then Thursday, when we played Maple Mountain again at their place, had a lead, you know, and then some unfortunate things happened. We had a couple errors. Then I think we actually walked in the winning run, and you know, that's baseball. That stuff happens, and you know, that's a tough way to lose. But you know, we win as a team, we lose as a team. That's the message I sent to our players that game. And but you know, I think we learned a lot. You always learn a lot more from losing than from winning. And again, I just learned as a coach, we just need to continue to do the basics of playing catch at practice, field and ground balls, and not do too much with our guys. It was Orem. We faced Paxton Schultz, who was one of the Valley's best pitchers. We jumped on Paxton Schultz real early. We scored, I think, 4 or 5 runs in the first inning. And that really set the tone against those guys. And they were a scrappy bunch. I think they made it into like Tuesday or Wednesday of the state tournament of the next week. They never rolled over, and they always threatened each inning. And Tanner Nielsen threw a gem and always pitched out of those threats. But it was real important to score. I think we scored 4 runs the first inning, just to set the tone, and especially against a good pitcher. That kid's going to be going to play college baseball. He's just a junior this last year, but he's going to be going to play college baseball somewhere. And that was a very good win. It's always good to get your first one under your belt in the state tournament. Then the second game went up to Woods Cross, and Woods Cross won their region, and really it was 1 or 2 or 3 in the state all throughout the whole year. And I know Coach Amiconi's doing a good job. He's a young coach, and he had his players ready and prepared for us. I remember that game, and Jason Money stepped up and hit a 2-out, 2 or 3 run bases. I think bases were loaded, triple, and you know, that was a big hit, and I was really happy for Jason to step through a pressure situation and get the job done. And yeah, Jason's a kid who doesn't show a lot of emotion, and you should have seen him at second base. He was a happy kid, and you know, he was hooting and hollering at second base, and he doesn't do that very much. And obviously it was a big relief off his shoulders, and to come through for his teammates right there. And we ended up winning that game, which was, again, to me, that was the most crucial game, must-win game in my opinion, that we had in the state tournament, because that really put us in a good situation the next week and put us into the quarterfinals undefeated. Going to UVU, we played Mountain Crest in the quarterfinal game. That was on Tuesday night. We were pretty offensive that game. I think we ended up 10 run them, 15 to 5 or 16 to 5. The game started out, it was beautiful weather. Then I think by about the 3rd or 4th inning, it started raining. And our guys did a good job battling through adversity, because it would have been easy to let the rain affect them. And they did a great job continuing solid at bats. Tanner Nielsen was on the mound, and he did a good job at throwing strikes. You know, we made, I think, 4 errors that game, so we didn't make it easy on ourselves. But I remember offensively, that's kind of what carried us that game through the quarterfinals. And Mountain Crest is always a solid club. They're always scrappy. And good heck, I think we were up 15 to 3, and I still wasn't comfortable in the dugout. I still wasn't comfortable in the dugout, but it was nice to get that last out, I think, in the 6th, and we 10-run Mountain Crest, which was real critical because that saved Tanner Nielsen throwing some more pitches and a couple more innings. So victorious against those guys. That led us to the semifinal game against Salem Hills, which Salem Hills jumped out. You know, offensively we kind of struggled a little bit, and we had opportunities to score runs early and just couldn't get big hits. Then I remember one play, there was a big at bat by Ryan Golish.
3 balls and 2 strikes to the count. Talon from the stretch, kicks and delivers home. That one swung on, that will be deep enough to tie the ball game.
He hit the ball very well to right field, and the right fielder kind of got turned around, kind of was running back and forth like this, and then the ball dropped, and Nick, being heads up, was still going hard around second, and I was waving him home because the right fielder just kind of, once the ball dropped, the game was tied.
Hamlin lost it, and it's over the head of the right fielder.
Nick Roberts dives head first, and the Dons are heading back to the state championship game for the 2nd consecutive year.
That's how he went ahead and ended up beating Salem Hills, which is very special to do in the state tournament because those guys were always ranked #1 in the state, and that was a big win for us, especially with the rivalry we have with Salem Hills.
It's the 2015 Class 4A State Baseball Championship game featuring the visiting Maple Mountain Golden Eagles and the home team, the Spanish Fork Dons.
I think Maple Mountain went up. I think they took the lead early, and you know, we battled back, and just like we have all year, we kind of scrapped for some runs. Matt Creer was started on the mound for us, and you know, he battled through, and he gave us 3 solid innings, and I think the game was 3-2 or 4-2 after he left. Then we brought in Remo Rivera, who kind of struggled towards the middle of our year, towards the end in region, but I had a lot of confidence in Remo because I knew what type of competitor he is, and gave him the ball, and he gave us like 3 2/3 solid innings. And I know one key thing, I think Nick was at first base again, and Devin Argyle smoked the ball center field, and to me that's what kind of took over the momentum for us in the game.
Walker Jones is going to be waved. We're tied up, coming around third, and scoring is Nick Roberts, and the Dons have the lead at 5-4.
Remo Rivera ended up hitting, I think, Jaron to put, I think that was the tying run at first base. And that brought up Mafi, and we decided to go pitching move with Tanner Nielsen. And Tanner Nielsen was biting to come in the game. He was chomping at the bit. He told us before the game, "Coach, I'm ready to go."
Tanner Nielsen been warming up for the last about 15 minutes in that bullpen. Coming in strictly to try to shut the door. The 2-2 pitch. Mafi swings, grounds it to second base. Fielded cleanly, the throw to first is in time, and Spanish Fork is your 2015 Class 4A State Baseball champions.
That's just a special moment, and it's just a great way for a bunch of guys to cap off the season, because those guys worked hard, especially with what they dealt with and the adversity they had to go through, and the starting slow, and you know, I'm sure people were telling them, "Hey, how come you're losing?" And those guys persevered, and it was awesome. But there's nothing better to dogpile on the mound. It's a great experience, and something that those kids will earned and will remember forever, along with myself and the coaching staff. So great way to end the year. Only one team ends season with a victory, and we were fortunate enough to do that.